Someone started recording. Right on. We are live. Hi, I'm Stephen Nyman, U.S. ski team downhiller. I've been on the ski team the longest. I'm the longest tenured person on the ski team right now. I have been racing the World Cup since 2005, 2006. That's crazy to think about. Were you even born yet, Maggie?
I was like 6 or 7.
That's crazy. And one of the things I pride myself in my career on is my longevity. I've had a lot of ups and downs, a lot of injuries, but I've always fought my way back to the top. And currently I'm doing the same thing. I tore my Achilles this fall in August, and I'm aiming to be back on snow by November and competing by mid-December when the World Cups start. And my teammate here, Maggie Voisin.
Hi, guys. Like Steve said, I'm Maggie Voisin. I'm on the U.S. ski team. I compete in ski slopestyle and big air. I've been on the team since 2014, 2015, so nowhere near as long as you have. But I'm a 2-time Olympian, 7-time X Games medalist, and just all around love skiing. But yeah, like Steve, I mean, I've had a lot shorter of a career, but I've had a lot of ups and downs. I'm 21 years old. I've had 4 knee surgeries, and I guess like you said, it's so great to look up to someone like you, and it's going to be fun to have this conversation today because I know you've been through a lot with injuries, Stephen, and the longevity that you've had. It's going to be so awesome to hear your advice. I feel like for all the injuries and kind of the downs that I've had in my career, I've done really well to manage and get back to the top of my game. So I'm currently recovering from my fourth knee surgery. And I'm hoping, I don't know an exact timeline to be back on my skis, but hoping sometime this season.
You will be back. If you listen to my advice.
No, we've had conversations in the past, so I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I was actually really stoked on some of the stuff I recommended to you last year. And I just texted you mid-season. I was like, how you doing? And you're like, great. That was awesome. I'm using that stuff. And I'm like, sweet. I'm glad you listened, because I think a lot of people think I'm crazy. But
no,
I have all kinds of modalities that I learned about and I share with people. And some listen, some don't. So thanks for listening.
No problem.
First off, what I would say, like, if you are injured, it's the questions that come to me are mostly like, how do you get back? Why aren't you scared? Why do you do it again? And to me, I always step back and I look at the situation and I say, okay, why did this happen? Was it my fault? Was it somebody else's fault? Was it the prep of the snow? Was it mismanaged something? Was somebody in the way? Like, you got to look at the situation and be honest with the situation. And if it was your fault, like, don't try and blame it on somebody else. Be like, okay, I didn't buckle my boots tight, or I pressured too hard off that jump, which made me fling into the air. Like, it's a learning experience. And then you got to say, okay, do I want to do this again? Do I love it that much? Like you said, you love skiing. I love skiing. I wouldn't do it for as many years as I've done it if I didn't love it. Like, it's this never ending puzzle that is constantly shifting, and I'm always just trying to figure it out. And I've sought out a lot of modalities, a lot of people that will help me, but I've also just kind of stumbled upon some people that have helped me and given me guidance. And I'm always one to try it out. Like, why not just try it out? But I also am very aware of, like, how I feel. Did this work? Did this not work? Funny thing is so that last fall I did a photo shoot with Maggie, and I told her, oh, you got to try this new probiotic I'm taking. It's great. And I put her on this earthing mat that I sleep on every night, which I really believe in. But the probiotic, I come to figure out, was actually poisoning me, and it really wasn't that good for me.
Oh man.
But it's because I'm very allergic to mushrooms, and I looked at the ingredients deeper because something was going on and my back was having issues. I hadn't started training when I had given you that information, like training skiing wise, and the load on your back skiing is just big. And then my back kept going out and it kept going out. And I was like, what is going on? What is going on? What was the difference in my life? What changed recently? And I looked at kind of the supplements I was taking. I was like, oh, let's dig deeper into this. And then I figured out they're mushroom based. And then I was like, every time I eat mushrooms, my back goes out.
No way.
A much deeper story is basically every muscle in your body is attached to an organ, and so basically or I should say associated with an organ. So every time I would eat something that I'm allergic to, it would cause an inflammation in my liver, like mushrooms, the mold, and that would shut the muscles associated with the liver down, and those were my low back muscles. And so I knew there was a connection there, and I stopped those, and I was fine. But you had already told me you really like them and you're fine, and I've also given them to a lot of other people, and they're very fine with them too. So
yeah, I use them to this day, and they're awesome. So, like you said, it's just so everything is so individual.
Right.
What we're talking about and all the information that we're giving people, it doesn't mean that it's going to be right for you. You know, you have to figure out what's right for your body. But like you've said, Stephen, you've tried so many different things and you know what's good and what's bad for you personally. And I feel like I'm kind of going through that same process. I'm the same way. I'm really down to try anything, and not just with like my injuries in my life. Like I I really am into like more of like holistic kind of alternative medicine. Like I don't see any harm in trying that. So whether that's like a naturopath, Chinese medicine, so I get that. I'm all into that side of things, and it's also been beneficial for my injuries, but also just my body as a whole. And kind of like you said, you realized that mushrooms and you did those food sensitivity tests and realized what was causing like to have a reaction in your body. And I mean, more than anything, I think in in like holistic medicine, it's all about the balance in the body, which is only going to help with an injury. So I've done the same thing. I've done food testing to find out what inflames my body, because when you're injured, generally it's like a sign of inflammation, and obviously that inflammation promotes healing, but it's also good to like reduce that inflammation throughout your entire body and all that. So no, I'm super interested in trying everything as well. So I've kind of gone rabbit hole. Yeah, it's fun.
The awareness that you have to, like, you have to bring a beginner's mind but an aware state to when you're trying these things, and really be open and be like, okay, is something changing? Is how do I actually feel? What's really going on? And then with that, you make your judgments. So I was an idiot, and I started taking those probiotics at the beginning of the season, which is something I probably should have done in the spring, and then kind of
test it out.
then kind of tested it out before I made it happen within the season. So, but like you said, oh man, you put something in my head, but I forgot. I just went on a little train there. So, modalities, connection. You're talking about connection to your body.
Well, I just meant like the inflammation within your body, like that whole connection.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
even if recovering from an injury, even if another part of you is inflamed or like your gut's inflamed, like it all is connected, right? Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah.
So if you can get your body as balanced as possible, it's going to be beneficial for your entire health, but especially when you're recovering from an injury, I would say.
Oh, I fully agree with that inflammatory state that you're talking about, because I actually had that question a few weeks ago. My buddy's like, why do you want inflammation but you don't want inflammation? Like, people are saying get rid of the inflammation, but you want the inflammation to help with healing. And there's just different types of things that you're targeting, and it's the overall inflammation, like within your gut and within your organs, not good. But when it comes to the area that's injured, like that's actually the body. Like you want to reduce that, but you also want to influence that at times too. But that's what's actually feeding the minerals and nutrients and everything for the actual recovery process. But to maximize that process, you need to have the organs functioning at a supreme manner. And that was kind of the first thing that I did when I tore my Achilles. I was like, okay, I have no time. Like this is a bad move, Stephen, to tear your Achilles in August before the ski season. But you can do it, but you have to really just dial everything in. And I talked to a dietitian. I got blood panels taken. I just made sure like everything was going, and they looked at all these biomarkers, and I'm just making sure my body is functioning at the highest level on all different fronts to just aid in that healing. And then it's creating that communication with my physios and my strength trainers. It's like, okay, what can we do to maintain my strength right now when I can't actually use my Achilles? And then once I can start using my Achilles, what can we do? How do we just take it step by step and kind of move things up and not have to take those steps back, but just push it right to the limit and then step back, push right to the limit, step back, and just kind of push that ceiling forward instead of going beyond and then having to take like several days off. So
totally hard.
That communication with kind of your team and your people is huge. And I also think like letting them know that they're part of it. Like, you are my team. Like, you are part of this. Like, let's do this. And that really motivates them instead of just going to the physio table and laying down and looking at your phone or falling asleep. It's like, I always want to get to know my physios and just talk to them and create that relationship, because it shows that they're as invested as you are.
Definitely. What are some of the things in PT that you had to do, let's say, right when you got out of surgery? What did you do to maintain like your strength? What did the ski team have you doing? Kind of in those early, because I'm not even quite sure where you're at yet, if you're able to do exercises with it or not.
I'm walking. I'm doing everything actually.
Oh, good.
It's pretty wild where I'm actually already at, but there's the thought of, okay, you're injured, rest, make sure everything kind of heals up, and I did that for a week, but it's just simple movement. I think movement is so key to the healing process and getting everything healing in the right plane. I'm mainly talking about like scar tissue and muscle fibers and stuff. It's like getting it healing in the right plane. If you do nothing and just sit there, you can just wad up and turn into this big ball of gunk, and then you got to just take a lot more time to fix that. And so right off the bat, I just had like little bands, and I'd sit on the couch and I'd just push my foot and just kind of get the muscle firing. It was minimally, but it was just showing my body, okay, this is the direction those fibers need to go, and let's start healing in that way, you know? Pardon me. I'm in the car and I'm sweating.
You're good.
So hot. But
oh, sorry. We're cutting each other off.
No worries.
Talking.
I'll keep talking. And then don't worry, I'll keep talking. And then it's just taking it to that place, like, okay, this is the very basic movement pattern that I want. I'm going to move through that. And you got to listen to the doctor. I'm not supposed to, if this is, that's a bad example. I'm not supposed to really flex my toes up toward my shin at all, because that'll stretch out the Achilles. Like, that's my limiting factor. So I have to really push my toes down and do a lot of work in that range, even till now. But so there's that. And then I looked at a ton of different protocols online. The doctor's protocols were very conservative, and I was just like, okay, what's not conservative? Because I can't be conservative. Like, let's go. And I just compared a lot of people's experiences and gathered that information. And I said, I think I can do this. I'm going to be conscious of this, and I'm going to push those limits. And if I feel like I push them too far, I'm not going to go beyond that. I'm just going to kind of really listen to myself. And you have to have that kind of personal self-assessment every single day.
Definitely. Did the ski team, because I guess with me and my knee injury, in the past I've done like ACL and all that, and it's like it's a ligament that you have to worry about, but I didn't have any ligament to worry about with this one, so I'm able to progress way more quickly. And I think I'm like a month and a half, maybe almost 2 months out of my knee surgery. And so it's pretty great that I'm able to be like back. I've just started doing like double leg stuff back in the gym. And I guess really for me, it's just getting my strength back and making sure the things that I did get fixed healed up. But in my beginning phases, I did a lot of BFR, blood flow restriction, which I know the ski team, I did a lot of that during my ACL. Did they have you do a bunch of that too? Or can you do that?
I'm doing that every day, like 5 days a week, whenever I'm in there. If you don't know what blood flow restriction is, it's basically some bands. They're called, there's tons of different levels of them. There's Katsu, there's Delphi, there's B Strong bands. B Strong's kind of a more at-home brand you can check out. And they're a couple $100, but you basically occlude the blood flow to your muscle and you do work. So you're actually not putting a ton of load on your body. You're just working with your body weight, and it fatigues your body and it tells your body, wow, I'm really tired right now. And because the signals are being sent from your brain, there's going to be a big HGH response and a growth response to helping healing and speeding up the healing process. And so that's a big part of our rehab this go around, and it has been a lot of my rehabs in the years past. I actually learned about it my first Achilles I tore back in 2011.
Okay, crazy. Yeah, I hadn't heard of it until the ski team got it, I guess last year when I was recovering from my ACL, but I saw a huge benefit from it. And not alone just like it really helped with the atrophy of the muscle, but like you said, just that blood flow to that area. I think it just helps so much with the healing process. And yeah.
How great do you feel when you're done? When you get done with the workout?
It's the best feeling ever. BFR is really hard. I don't know if you have the same experience, but I'm like you said, like you could just be doing like squats, no weight, just body weight stuff, but it's cutting off that restriction. Like mine, what I've been doing, it's like high up on my thigh. So your whole leg kind of like will turn purple. You're like, it doesn't look right. It feels terrible, but when you're done and that cuff kind of like relaxes and that blood can kind of flow to your leg, it's the best feeling.
I'm like, you think you're not doing a lot of work and you're doing squats. I'm like doing little toe presses, and I'm like, I can't even do it.
It's hard for the people that haven't done it. It is hard. But also,
yeah, BFR is huge. How about this? So the new thing I'm like super into right now is diet. I've done a lot of research on diet.
I'm curious to hear this.
I don't know if you've looked at or if the ski team, like when I first made the ski team, we had a lot of classes and they taught us all kinds of things, and it was really cool. But that hasn't been the case as of late. But I have a family and all kinds of stuff, so I'm pretty busy. But diet wise, I was always taught, make sure you get your food right after you're done working out, and it's there and available, and you have like a 30-minute window to your cells are really open and able to absorb the nutrients that you need.
Yeah, I've seen protein shakes, raw eggs.
Oh yeah, I like my raw egg shakes. I do all kinds of stuff with smoothies and whatnot. But we're lucky because we have dietitians that are cooking us food, and it's like sitting there when we're done working out, and so we can just go grab it and go. But the regular person has to like make a smoothie, have something ready, have like a little shaker bottle with whatever they have, protein powders ready. But that's that's like old school.
Yeah.
The good stuff right now that I'm doing is actually having the drinks available. I have an essential amino acid drink that I'm drinking a little beforehand and during workouts. So the amino acids are in my bloodstream, and if you think about it, your heart rate's the highest when you're working out. So therefore, that blood is actually getting to the area more so than any other time during the day. The priority for blood is your organs, and when you're resting, it's going to be stuck in your organs, and I think it's like 60 or 70% of your blood is there. But once you start working out, priority shifts away, goes to your extremities, goes to your muscle groups. And so if you can have those materials in your bloodstream while you're working out, it's actually utilizing that even better.
Oh, wow.
So having essential amino acids in a drink mix. Right now I have collagen and kind of a protein powder mix that I'm taking down as well. So I'm kind of switching between those two bottles while I'm working out. And then I have another bottle post-workout with my meal, just to make sure it's just always there and always available and constantly in fixed mode.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's crazy. I've never heard that. To have you say that, what you're taking.
So there's BCAAs, branched chain amino acids, but there's EAAs, which are essential amino acids. So it's just a deeper panel of amino acids, and it's definitely a thing right now. But a lot of people don't. It's in like a lot of like the hype up drinks, and a lot of like the bodybuilders have that. But there's a bunch of other junk in there too. So don't buy that stuff. It's like just buy like the real stuff. It may taste like crap drink mix or something.
Yeah.
And it'll be much better. But that's something that's been really big, I think, in my aiding with my recovery right now.
That's huge. Yeah, no, I haven't heard that one. So that's interesting. I mean, I knew about like just getting something in you as soon as possible after your workout, but I hadn't heard that one yet. And are you pretty like, obviously, like, are you pretty strict about like eating organic and like do you have like a diet like that, or are you?
Yeah, I'm big. Like the purity of your food is huge. Understanding what organs. So your knee hurts. Actually, your rectus is one of your quad muscles. It's associated to your pancreas. So say you like your Diet Coke. What's in Diet Coke? Not real sugar. It's better to drink Coke than it is to drink Diet Coke, especially if you're an athlete. But the sugar, it's aspartame, which is fake, and your body doesn't know what to do with it. So if you're down in that, it's actually putting so much pressure on your pancreas that it doesn't know what to do, and that inflammation is going to occur there, which will then affect your rectus femoris, which will then give you pain in your knee. So maybe a certain part of your patella is going to have a little ache to it. Yeah. Probably because you took in some bad sugars, and the way to get that out of there is like a certain supplements. It's actually choline, which will help kind of reboot your pancreas and get things back online. But there's all kinds of, like you said, your body is just this kind of big web, this big matrix that's all inclusive, and it supports each other. So understanding these things is huge, and we'll put some stuff in the show notes of good people that that you can reach out to learn about your body. But so eating organic, eating clean, just making sure that you're putting the stuff you're putting in your body is the best stuff you can. And it's full of nutrition. Like organic's not only good for your body, it's cleaner, but it also has a deeper nutrient panel. Like the food actually has good stuff in it. And if it's not just organic, like look at the non-GMO stuff, because it actually will have taste and goodness to it. But
Mm-hmm.
water is huge too. A
Yeah,
lot of
having
people
water,
drink all kinds of random stuff, but it's like just
water's
good,
food.
clean, filtered water just
Yeah.
keeps flushing things out. And
Because
once it flushes things out, it allows for new good nutrients to come and play.
a lot of city water can be like super high in chlorine or what other like minerals. I mean, some minerals are good for you, but it can just be super high in stuff that's not good for you. And people aren't conscious of that. So they're just drinking their tap water. Like in Park City, where we train out of, where the ski team trains out of, like, wouldn't you say the water there is pretty hard? So, and it's not something you think about. Some people probably think that a lot of water, like any water, is pretty clean. I mean, as long as it's like not brown, people are probably like, oh, this water's fine for me. But yeah, I have a lot of research and just finding out that like really drinking clean water is super good for you, because you don't want to load your body with heavy metals that are not good for you. That can cause a lot. So
That's huge. And a simple filter makes a huge difference. Like just a little Brita filter or something you just attach to your faucet is big. But I actually just order mine from a spring source and just have jugs sent to the house. And if you have that option, great. But the number one option, it's $20-$30, is just a filter that can go on your tap, and that'll make a world of difference right there.
Yeah. Even just the small things, you don't have to do all the extremely expensive stuff. So even the small things matter, baby steps. But yeah, I would say, and that's a great subject. I totally forgot. Like, I mean, I'm super strict about my water, but I totally forgot to even bring that up. And I'm the same way, like eating organic and making sure that it's like the most minimal like ingredients as possible. If it's not just like whole foods, that's really what I try to focus on. And like you talked about mushrooms inflaming your body, I've done a food sensitivity test, and I know that I'm really sensitive to gluten and dairy. So those are two that I don't like. I definitely don't eat unless I'm in Europe. And then there's just some other stuff that I've realized that like what causes my body to feel good, and so I try to stay away from other things. But there's also balance there as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, also I guess too, like I'm really all about trying to like source locally. Like I love the season of farmers markets, because I even know that some of our organic produce in grocery stores doesn't have that much nutrients in the soil, which I'm learning a lot about, like conventional farming and all that kind of stuff, which is really fascinating, and realizing that stuff that's bought more locally and eating in season, like you're getting probably more there's better nutrients in those soils generally. Have you ever heard that? So
Yes, definitely. I've definitely heard eating according to the season, which is huge. Locally, it's a lot of the stuff is just picked. So even though it's organic, it's picked so early and then brought to you that it's that last phase of the ripening, when it's still connected to the earth, is where a lot of the nutrients come in to the source. So it's like if we're picking it so early to ship it from Peru, like you're actually, even though it's organic, it's still not getting the top quality stuff. But we want to have like pesticides and crap sprayed on it. So
yeah.
that's good. Oh, let's talk about, so number 2. I really think this is important.
Yeah.
Is connecting to the earth. It's huge. So last fall, Maggie and I were shooting that commercial, and I was just like, dude, earth? I forgot why this came on, but I was super into it, and I've actually been doing it since 2006, but I hadn't found products that were as good as the one I was using. And then I finally found this one, and I was like, oh, this is good. This is really good. And so I've just been spreading it to everybody. But it's called ultimatelongevity.com. So go there. It's a sheet that you can put under your fitted sheet on your bed, and you're just sleeping on the earth's frequency, which is huge for inflammation. It's supposed to be super, super good for the body's ability to recover. And if you think about it, we're in cars, we're in our shoes, we're on bikes, we're in buildings, we're disconnected from the earth all the time.
Yeah. Are we actually putting our bare feet on the ground, right?
Yeah.
Earthing, yeah.
And the simplest way is just to go outside for half an hour a day and put your feet on the ground, and it's free. It's great. But if you really want to have like some awesome recovery, get one of these sheets, sleep on that at night. Like, you're getting 8 hours a night of being connected with the earth. All you do is plug it into your grounding outlet in your house. And that right there is that they have measurements in the body that it's massive inflammation reduction. So
science behind it is really fascinating.
But the coolest thing is a lot of these resources are just around you. Like, it's not that hard. It's just we've been led so astray. And I really feel like a couple simple little things make a huge, huge difference. One of the first things I did when I tore my Achilles was, there are these patches, and I put these diodes kind of on the ball of my foot and then on my Achilles, and they're connected to grounding, but it's a direct connection right in the area of the injury. And it's just like, reduce the inflammation. Every single night I'm sleeping with that and my earthing blanket, and I'm connecting to that whenever I can. And I think that's huge. But also, like, elevation, that's free. Raise your foot up. Icing. Yeah. You can get a bag of ice.
We should get into the topic of recovery when you go after you go through like 1, 2, and 3, or
I'm just coming up with 1, 2, and 3. But right. 3 would be eating. I mean, obviously that's like way deeper, but I think obviously your diet is just like paying attention to that is so massive. Yeah. I just had my daughter on Friday, and I was in hospital for 2 days and eating hospital food, and I just get up and I'm like, I feel like such crap. Like, I'm just swollen, and I was eating bad food. And I went home and had a good meal and slept and woke up, and I was like, wow, I feel great. And I was sleeping fine. Like, I slept fine in the hospital too. The food just wasn't up to par. And what I usually like.
Your body, and you've been eating healthy for a long time, when you get off track even for a day or two, like, I feel it's really noticeable. So and people who are like, oh, eating healthy sucks, it's kind of like, well, once you get your taste buds adjusted to eating good, then it just, I feel like all that food from the earth just actually tastes amazing, better than anything processed or whatever. And that goes the same with like fruit. Like, I don't use a lot of added sugars. I really only use natural sugars. And I find that, since I've cut that out, like, eating fruit is like a dessert to me. So that kind of,
Yeah, exactly.
Take time.
Pineapple at night. Like, right now I'm eating a ton of pineapple because the enzymes in pineapple and papaya are really good for scar tissue and breaking it down, and just kind of that process of redeveloping. So that's just finding out what food sources actually have those materials you're searching for. I just Google. I'm like, okay, what's good to eat for scar tissue? What's good to eat for developing of tendons, stuff like that. And then you just find it, and then just try and figure out the highest quality that you can find and go for it. But what's cool is actually there's a lot of good stuff at Costco. I don't know if you have Costco up in Montana, but
we do.
But there's just like, there's a lot of good stuff there. It's not like you have to go to this Whole Foods or these little natural stores. Like, people are recognizing it, and I think the consciousness of everybody is shifting, and it's actually becoming more available to the masses. So
yeah, it's cool.
There's a lot of good stuff there. Go for it.
On the topic, I think, of recovery, we'll say that's number 4.
Okay.
Because I think that's obviously huge. So I can start, or you can start, but is there anything that, like, obviously we talked about like the grounding mats, but is there anything in particular that you do, whether it's, are you into, like, we can obviously, like, icing, heat, saunas, have you ever done the float tanks, like anything like that? What do you do for recovery?
I actually bought like a float tank punch pass. And I never got to use it. And now COVID's here. I'm like,
oh
I'm not going
no.
to any float tanks. But I do enjoy just going to the water, going to the lake, floating there, like just the de-weighting of the body. Right now I'm doing a lot of work in rehab in the water, just in a pool, and that just de-weights the body. But when it comes to recovery, sleep is huge. Like just getting enough sleep is massive.
How much do you try to, like, for you personally, what do you try to average for sleep?
At least 8 hours. Like
Yeah.
if I know I'm waking up at 7:30 and I look at my phone and I'm like, I'm on my phone and it's 11:30, I gotta hang up then. Like you just gotta have the will to just be like, boom, done, going to sleep. Or no, like, okay, let's just not even look at the phone at 10. You know, the phone's actually like one of the worst things. It's just staring at this thing. And
gonna say that, like, I was kind of thinking in my head, like, we could talk about like routine, whether that's morning or night routine, what winds you down for the night. Obviously, ours are gonna look different. You now have 2 kids. I just have to take care of myself. But yeah, I think the phone for me is a huge thing, and really trying my best to put my phone down like at least an hour before I sleep. I am not perfect. I don't do that all the time. Whether for me that's like reading, but reading is kind of my wind down when I'm being good and not on my phone. But you probably agree, is that kind of what you're about? I want to go back to recovery, but since we're on it, like mindset, I think that, I mean, ultimately, every, like, it's kind of all big one circle. It all connects. But I think, mindset is really where it starts. And for me, I'm like really grateful to have a great head on my shoulders. And I've learned just through the ups and downs of my career that there's always a positive to come out of any situation. I think negatives, even a negative situation as well. And I try to really hold on to that. I think as athletes, we're definitely super dedicated and we have a driven goal, and that's due to our passion and our love for our sport. But there are some things that I do to help with my head. Like meditation is, I'm all for it. And then you said, like, even this kind of is recovery, but I've done a bit of those float tanks as well. And I think that, like, science and kind of the meditation of doing those float tanks is really fascinating. I haven't done much of them. But I also
Maggie,
yeah.
do you have a head thing or?
Oh no, was I covering up better?
Yeah, you're kind of covering it.
Was that bad? Should I redo that?
Yeah, redo that.
Oh bad. Shit. Oh no, where do I go back? Starting with the whole like mindset thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So backtrack. Sorry guys, my hand was on my mic. Dang it. Yeah, so going back into the topic of just mindset, and I think how important mindset is, and like I said, everything's all connected. It's all kind of one big circle of life, and I really believe though mindset is kind of at the top of everything. And for me, I think I've had a lot of like ups and downs in my career, and realizing that even from my negative situations, I've been able to take something positive away, and I've been able to like I've been able to take something positive away from those negative situations that have just helped me grow to be a better athlete. And like I said, the fact that we are athletes and we're so driven, I mean, that's due to our passion and our dedication, which for the sports that we love, and that obviously has to do with mindset. But other stuff that I personally like to do to just help with mindset, meditation, number one. I've been doing that for so long, and I think having like a mindful meditation practice, a consistent one, has just been huge for me. Whether, whatever that might look for you, you can just, where you're sitting down, or, you're in a quiet space, or that's a guided meditation, or just breathing in general. I've also done like the float tank stuff, which we talked about was a part of recovery as well. The science of it is super fascinating. But the kind of the meditation you get out of that is really crazy. And I haven't done much of it, but the little bit that I have has been incredible. I just don't have a lot of access to that here in Montana. And then I'm curious if you've like looked into this, Steve, is I started doing the Wim Hof, or I wouldn't say like dedicated. Have you heard of Wim Hof? I'm sure.
Yeah.
So
I've done it, but I've done a bunch of different variants, but I think there's something to it. And once again, that's just like another free thing. Like, you know how to breathe.
Yeah.
If you don't know what Wim Hof is, it's it's basically hyperventilating. Like you have you start breathing at these tempos, and then you take 30 breaths really hard, and then you hold your breath for a minute, and then you let it out, and then you hold your breath for as long as you can after that. And he says it's getting high on your own supply, but there's actually muscles that help with our lung expansion and contraction, and it's training that. It's hyper oxygenating your blood. It's there's
What is
something
it?
to
It's
it.
like it's alkalizing your body. I for some reason that always sticks with me. Yeah.
It's alkalizing your body, and it's supposed to be just extremely healthy according to his claims.
And also, along with that, sorry, cutting you off.
You do it.
No, I was just also mentioning, like, there is the breathing part, and there's 3 parts, I think, of the Wim Hof, and there is a movement part, which I haven't really got into, but also the cold baths and showers. And like being a winter athlete, like I'm the coldest person ever. I hate being cold. I feel like I'm always cold. So this has like been like a big leap for me, but I try to, like, every time I shower and every day, I always end my my shower on as cold as it can go for 2 minutes. And I stand underneath it. And there's like a really cool science behind the cold showers as well, which I think not only Wim Hof talks about, but that is really like the breath and the cold is really a big part of his his program and his benefits. So anyways, that's kind of my spiel. Those are the 2 that I've been really new to me for my kind of recovery, but also mindset as well.
And saunas.
Yes.
I'm sitting in my free sauna in the car, sweating it out.
Yeah. Have you gotten into infrared? What do you think?
I have
keep
a
talking
sauna,
about
actually.
I'm so jealous.
And actually, Jacuzzi, who is our team sponsor, is the dealer for infrared saunas, so you can get a deal. Talk to them.
You're kidding.
No.
I just need a house to put it.
There you go. But you can get a little one. It's 6 panels. It's the floor, the walls, and the roof, and you just clip it together, and then you can break it down and move it to wherever you rent or whatever you have. So
this news just made my day.
Yeah,
made my day.
So saunas, ice bath, like in the winter, especially with snow, it's like I always go walk out there, roll in the snow. I've always done it since I was a kid. It's just fun. And breathing, I actually, I don't know how many years ago, but driving from Utah to Mammoth across the big flat desert, I'd sit there and I'd be like, "Hey, Marco, my teammate, I'm gonna hold my breath for a long time. If I pass out, grab the wheel," And I would hold my breath, and I've always been into holding my breath as a kid. But then I figured out, okay, if I oxygenate my blood and I breathe beforehand and go, I can hold it a lot longer. And I was going for like 3.5 minutes. But then with the ski team, we did a couple camps with some Navy SEAL groups, and they taught us about breathing. And the ex-head Red Bull guy, Andy Walsh, he was the head of sports science at Red Bull, and they taught us a much more relaxed kind of meditative breathing sequence instead of Wim Hof's very aggressive. It's like a breathe in for 4 seconds, breathe out, or hold for 1, then breathe out for 4, or it's a 2-1-2 count, and it's just this long process. And basically, for every minute you want to hold your breath, you do that for 2 minutes. Yeah, and so then I got up to 4.5 minutes, and we did it in the water, and we just float. And some guys are better in water, some guys are better out of the water. I was better in the water, and I just float in the water and have my wetsuit on, and it was super, super cool.
Wow.
But that's something can bring you to that meditative state, or just take you away from just the everyday chaos of the world right now. I really like that stuff, and we had a physio that was super into that. So last winter he would take us on some guided sessions. We'd go on a little hike in the woods and all lay down and
that's incredible.
do Wim Hof. So it's pretty cool.
It's fun. It's fun when other people too, like around you, are interested in the same things. And I don't know. Yeah, it's super fascinating. And I just think like that recovery kind of mindset topic we're on right now is just, to me, that's like what fascinates me the most. So I love talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything else that you do for recovery? Like whether that's like icing, or like I'm all about the infrared saunas as well, or like, what do we have, like the oh my gosh, the Normatec pants, like the compression, or I don't know. You've always,
Yeah,
I think,
I've done Normatec. Game Ready's a very prominent brand out there, but there's a brand called Nice that's actually a much smaller unit. You don't have to put ice in it. It's self-refrigerating, and it has compression. That's the unit I use for icing. It's super, super good. And you can set these pre-programmed 5 different temperature ranges to 3 different compression ranges. You can put it on for 20 minutes, hold it off for 20 minutes, and you can make it run all night. Like, it was really nice for when I tore my Achilles. I just turn it on and sleep all night, and I didn't have to worry about a thing.
Yeah.
But like a cheap man's ice there are these bags called Total Ice Therapy. I think it's totalicetherapy.com, and they're $20, and you can throw ice in them and they won't leak. And it has like a little strap that they make them for your knees, for your ankles, for your shoulders, for anything. So if you're functioning on a budget, there you go.
There you go.
totalicetherapy.com.
Those are great.
But if you're getting insurance covering all this stuff, and your therapist is issuing an ice unit to you, I'd get a Nice unit. Check them out. Nice. Nicerecovery.com.
Yes, I really like Nice machines. Those are definitely the best. And then I think, I don't know, I feel like we've covered a lot of things, but another thing, kind of just through like my more natural way of like healing and just kind of that stuff that I'm into, is the belief that you have in yourself to heal. I think that's so important.
Huge.
And
the little wins, like every day. It's like the little having that like self check-in and being like, okay, where was I yesterday and where am I at today? Like, like there has been progress. And some days I get frustrated and I'm like, oh, am I going anywhere? But then you think back a week and you're like, I am so much better than a week ago. This is great.
Yeah. Yeah, it is so true. It is the small wins for sure. Because obviously, like, our biggest goal is to get back on our skis, but that's a long road. And if we're just like, that's the only thing that's going to make us happy, like, no, we have to remember that there's just so much progression to get to that point, and being grateful and, being excited for all the small wins. And then, like I said, just like knowing that your body is going to heal. The human body is so incredible and it wants to heal. And I think if you really believe in that and instill and like tell yourself that you're going to heal, like that, like the power of that is huge. Some people might be like, you're crazy, but I 100% believe that that's super huge. I think sometimes it's like, I don't know. I think with athletes too, like a doctor might tell us, oh, that's not possible. But, like your recovery, I came back from my last ACL super quick and, had the best season of my life. And I think it's just that belief that you have in yourself, like that goes so much farther. And like the chemistry and like the science actually behind like you believing in your own body and that healing process, like, is real. So I think that's a really big part of it too. So, I'm not saying every day I'm like always, sometimes that's harder than other days, but in the end and after every day, like I fully have that belief that you're the healing. Yeah, I can't talk, but the belief of healing for yourself is so important. So,
well, there's a lot of evidence behind placebo and having actually good materials, or just like having that belief and that things are going to happen. And things may happen. So a positive attitude. But to me, the biggest thing is like have an understanding of what you're trying to accomplish and what's going on with you. Like, how does this actually affect me? How does this affect me? What is this reaction going to occur? Or when's that going to occur? Blah, blah, blah. It's really just having an understanding and a guide map and a vision in your head of what's going to happen, and then just setting forth and making it happen is huge. And
knowing that road may be rocky, but if you, like you said, if you've got that vision and you know what it's going to take and you've planned out what you want to do, like you said, like you're going to get there. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm excited to see your recovery and your next performances. And I loved your little mini film. That was awesome.
Thank you.
I'll start the ski pow. You're lucky because you're so little and you get face shots all the time. I'm a tall dude. I rarely get face shots.
Perks of being tiny. Perks. Yeah, no, thank you. And I'm like, this conversation was really fun and I was looking forward to it. Like I said, we've had some great conversations in the past, and it's fun to talk to someone who's kind of got the same mindset, as not mindset, but just kind of into trying different things. And so no, this conversation was really fun, and I hope everyone gets something out of this, at least one thing. I know we kind of rambled on and talked about a lot of different things, but like I said, this was really fun.
One more thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What I really enjoy is, like you said, you enjoy this conversation, but it's like you and I are seeking similar goals. Mm-hmm. And it's surround yourself, like that's one thing that really motivates me too, is like when I get around my boys and we're all just seeking the same thing and we're all working to be the best in the world, like that's huge. And surrounding yourself with people that are motivated and happy and like-minded and lift you up is such a big has such a big effect on your attitude and your motivation factor. So just find those right people. If you walk in and you're not feeling it at the physio place, like find a different physio. But
do what's best for you. Yeah,
exactly.
That's such a huge part. That's a really important part. I mean, so important. And it's like, we wouldn't be able to do, I mean, I personally wouldn't have been able to get through all my like downs and injuries in my career without, the people that I've surrounded myself with. So that's a really important point to bring up. So.
Yeah. Well, you're motivating me. I'm motivating you.
You are.
Hopefully.
But always. I always watch Nyman in the gym and I'm like, holy shit, what is he? You've also like we could talk forever. I feel like we have to like end the conversation at some point, but like even the exercises that you do, like everything you do is like total body. I don't know. Like this does not have to be a part of it, but it's really fun to watch you. So.
But that brings me to one more thing. It's like right now I can't do total body. Like I have a torn Achilles, but I can stick to the leg press. So like I'm maintaining myself via the leg press. And I'm lifting a ton of weight, and it's awesome. Mm-hmm. But it's not that full connected hand to toe type exercises that I usually like doing. But it's what I can do, and so figuring out what you can do, and then working around that. So, I'm psyched. I'm psyched to see you in the gym. I think you're coming to Park City soon. So
I am. Yeah. I am.
Right on, Maggie.
It's so great talking to you. Yes.
And everybody out there, see you on the slopes, right?
Oh yeah, we'll be there soon. Snow's coming.
Snow is coming.